The security camera in the hotel's east corridor captured everything. A man in a dark coat moving too carefully. His eyes darted left, then right. He checked his watch. Then he pressed himself against the wall near the service entrance. It was 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. The Grand Meridian Hotel was quieter than usual. Most guests were at dinner or settling into their rooms. But Marcus Chen, the night shift security guard, noticed something odd on monitor 12. The man wasn't supposed to be there. Marcus leaned closer to the screen. His coffee went cold in his hand. The corridor near the kitchen was staff only. Guests never wandered back there. Not unless they were lost. And this man didn't look lost. He looked like he was hunting. Marcus had worked hotel security for 11 years. He knew the difference between a confused guest and someone with a plan. This man had a plan. The way he moved, the way he avoided the main cameras, the way he kept one hand inside his coat pocket, something was wrong. Before we go further into what happened that night, if you love stories that make your heart race and keep you guessing until the very end, hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it. Now back to the story. The man's name was Derek Palmer. Once, he'd been a respected investigative journalist. His articles had exposed corruption in 3 major corporations. He'd won awards. He'd been on television. People trusted his name, but that was 5 years ago. Now, Derek Palmer was blacklisted. His name appeared on a private list shared between hotels, corporations, and event venues across the city. The list was quiet, unofficial, but powerful. Derek had crossed a line. He'd fabricated a source in his last major story. When the truth came out, his career didn't just end. It exploded. Lawsuits followed. Retractions. Public apologies that meant nothing. No outlet would hire him. No editor would return his calls, but Derek refused to disappear. He still chased stories. Still believed he could find the one investigation that would redeem him. That would prove he still mattered. And tonight, he believed that story was inside the Grand Meridian Hotel. Rumor had it that a foreign diplomat staying on the 12th floor was involved in an illegal arms deal. No proof yet, just whispers. Anonymous tips on encrypted channels. But Derek could smell it. The kind of story that could bring him back from the dead. He just needed evidence. A photograph. A document. A name. That's why he'd come to the kitchen entrance. That's why he'd waited until the shift change. And that's why he had an envelope filled with cash in his coat pocket. Marcus watched the monitor. The man checked his phone. Typed something. Then looked up as a door opened. A young woman stepped into the corridor. She wore a kitchen uniform. White apron, hair tied back. Her name tag read Sophia. She looked tired. The kind of tired that comes from working 2 jobs and barely sleeping. Derek stepped forward. He smiled. The kind of smile that was supposed to look friendly, but didn't quite reach his eyes. Sophia froze. Marcus sat up straighter. His hand moved toward the radio on his belt. On the screen, Derek pulled the envelope from his pocket. He said something. Sophia shook her head. Derek stepped closer. He held out the envelope. Sophia stepped back. Marcus was already moving. His chair rolled backward as he stood. His radio crackled as he called for backup, but his eyes never left the screen, because what happened next would change. Everything. Sophia's hands trembled. She'd seen men like this before. Men who smiled with their mouths but not their eyes. Men who thought everyone had a price. I don't want trouble, she said quietly. Her accent was slight. Venezuelan, maybe. Or Colombian. Please leave. Egg. Didn't move. He pushed the envelope closer. It's $500 cash. I just need information about the guest in room 1247, that's all. Just tell me what you've seen. Sophia glanced at the envelope. $500. That was half her rent. That was groceries for a month. That was the difference between keeping the lights on and sitting in the dark. But she knew what this was. She'd heard the warnings during orientation. Reporters, paparazzi, people trying to bribe staff for gossip about guests. The hotel had a zero-tolerance policy. Anyone caught sharing information would be fired. No second chances, Sophia said. She turned to walk away. Derek grabbed her arm. It wasn't rough. Not yet. Just enough to stop her. Wait, just listen. This isn't about gossip. This is important. The man in that room is dangerous. I'm trying to expose him. You'd be doing the right thing. Sophia pulled her arm free. Let go of me. I can make it 1,000, Derek said. Desperation crept into his voice now. You don't even have to say much. Just confirm he's had visitors. That's it. Marcus was halfway down the corridor. His boots made no sound on the carpet. He'd trained himself to move quietly, to arrive before people realized he was coming. He could hear their voices now. Derek's pleading tone. Sophia's fear. Marcus turned the corner. Derek saw him immediately. His expression shifted. The friendly mask cracked. Underneath was something harder, cornered. Sir Marcus said calmly. His voice carried authority without aggression. I'm going to need you to step away from the employee. Derek's hand went back to his pocket. For a second, Marcus tensed. His training kicked in. Assess the threat. Watch the hands. But Derek only pulled out his phone. I'm a journalist, Derek said quickly. I have a right to be here. I'm staying in room 804. Marcus knew that was a lie. He'd memorized the guest list that evening. Room 804 was checked in under the name Sarah Hoffman, a woman traveling alone for business. No, sir, Marcus said. You're not. Derek's jaw tightened. Check your system. You'll see I already did. Marcus took a step forward. You need to leave the property now. Sophia had backed against the wall. Her eyes moved between the two men. Marcus noticed her fear and softened his voice. Sophia, are you okay? Did he hurt you? She shook her head quickly. No, I'm okay. He tried to give me money. Marcus nodded. He kept his eyes on Derek. Sir, you're on hotel property without authorization. You've attempted to bribe a staff member. I'm asking you to leave peacefully, or I'll call the police. Derek laughed. It was a bitter sound. You think you're protecting someone? The man upstairs is a criminal. I'm trying to do the right thing. It's not my concern, Marcus said. My concern is the safety of hotel staff and guests. You're threatening that safety. I didn't threaten anyone. You grabbed her arm. Marcus pointed to Sophia. I saw it on camera. That's assault. Derek's face went pale. That's not. I didn't mean... She was walking away. I just needed her to listen. You need to leave. For a moment, Derek looked like he might argue. His hand clutched the envelope. His phone screen glowed in the dim corridor light. He looked at Sophia, at Marcus, then at the camera mounted in the corner. He must have realized then. It was all recorded. Every second. Every word the envelope slipped from his fingers. Bills scattered across the floor. 20s and 50s in a messy pile. You don't understand, Derek said quietly. I used to be someone. I used to matter. Marcus felt a flicker of sympathy. But sympathy didn't change the situation. I understand you need to leave. We can do this easy, or we can do this hard. Derek bent down. He started gathering the money with shaking hands. Sophia watched him with something that might have been pity. That's when everything went wrong. The door behind, Sophia opened again. Another kitchen worker stepped out. He was older. Gray hair, thick arms. His name was Paulo. He took one look at the scene and misunderstood completely. Get away from her, Paulo shouted. He moved toward Derek fast. Marcus raised his hand. Paulo, stop. I have this under control. But Paulo wasn't listening. He'd worked with Sophia for 2 years. She was like a daughter to him, and all he saw was a strange man on his knees, money on the floor. And Sophia pressed against the wall, looking terrified. Paulo grabbed Derek by the collar. Derek stumbled backward. His shoulder hit the wall. The remaining cash flew from his hands like confetti. No, Sophia screamed. Marcus moved fast. He stepped between them, hands up. Everyone stop. Right now. Paulo's face was red. His fist was clenched. But he listened to Marcus. Everyone listened to Marcus. That was the thing about respect. You couldn't demand it. You earned it. He was hurting her, Paulo said, breathing hard. I saw him grab her. No, Marcus said calmly. I saw it too. I'm handling it. But I need you to step back. Let me do my job. Paulo looked at Sophia. She nodded quickly. It's okay, Paulo. Marcus is here. It's okay. Slowly, Paulo released his grip on Derek's coat. He stepped back, but his eyes never left Derek's face. Derek straightened his jacket. His hands were shaking now, not from fear, it's from rage. You people are insane. I'm a journalist. I'm trying to expose corruption, and you're treating me like a criminal. Tried to bribe an employee, Marcus said. That makes you a criminal here. It's not a bribe. It's compensation for information. That's the definition of a bribe, sir. Derek's laugh was sharp. Broken. You know what? Fine, call the cops. Let's see what they think when I tell them about the arms dealer on the 12th floor. Marcus didn't react. He'd heard it all before. Conspiracy theories, accusations, desperate attempts to justify bad behavior. Sir, I'm going to escort you out. If you resist, I will call the police, and they will arrest you for trespassing and attempted assault. Derek stared at him. Really stared. Like he was trying to find a crack in Marcus's calm exterior. Something he could exploit. He found nothing. You're just following orders, Derek said bitterly. You don't even care what's true. You care about keeping people safe, Marcus replied. Now, let's go. Derek bent down one more time. He grabbed a handful of bills. Didn't even count them. Just stuffed them in his pocket. The rest stayed on the floor. Marcus gestured toward the exit. Derek walked. Slow, shuffling steps, like a man heading to execution. Sophia and Paulo watched them go. Neither spoke. The corridor felt too quiet now. Just the hum of the ventilation system and the soft squeak of Derek's shoes on tile. They passed the kitchen, the loading bay, the staff break room with its flickering fluorescent lights. Derek looked smaller now, deflated. I was going to win a Pulitzer, he said suddenly. Did you know that? My editor said my work on the Donovan scandal was Pulitzer-worthy. Marcus didn't respond. He'd learned that silence was often the best response. But one mistake, Derek continued. One source I couldn't verify. One story I pushed too hard. And now, I'm nothing. They reached the back exit. Cold air rushed in as Marcus pushed open the door. January wind. Sharp and bitter. You need to stay off this property, Marcus said. If you come back, I won't be this patient. Understand? Derek stepped into the parking lot. He turned back. The diplomat in 1247. His name is Victor Molina. He's brokering weapons to conflict zones. I have sources. That's not my problem. It should be everyone's problem. Marcus started to close the door, but Derek's voice stopped him. What if I'm right? Derek asked quietly. What if I'm telling the truth, and you're letting a monster stay in your hotel? Marcus paused. For just a second, doubt flickered in his mind. What if? What if this broken, desperate man was actually onto something real? But then he remembered the envelope. The fear in Sophia's eyes. The way Derek had grabbed her arm. If you have real evidence, Marcus said, take it to the police, not to a kitchen worker making $12 an hour. He closed the door. The lock clicked. Derek stood in the parking lot alone. The wind cut through his coat. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number? Did you get it? He typed back with numb fingers. No. The response came immediately. Then you're useless to us. Derek stared at the screen. The light hurt his eyes. He thought about throwing the phone, watching it shatter on the asphalt, but he didn't. He just put it back in his pocket. Inside, Marcus walked back to the security office. His supervisor, Janet, was waiting. She'd watched everything on the monitors. Good work, she said. Clean resolution, thanks. Do you know who that was? Marcus shook his head. Janet pulled up something on her computer. An email. A photo. Derek Palmer. Investigative journalist. Used to work for the Tribune. Got blacklisted 5 years ago for fabricating sources. Marcus looked at the photo. Younger Derek. Confident Derek. Before the fall. He's been trying to get into the hotel for 3 weeks, Janet continued. Different disguises. Different approaches. This was his 4th attempt. Why is he so obsessed with this place? Janet shrugged. Who knows? Maybe he's chasing ghosts. Maybe he's trying to rebuild his reputation with one big story. Either way, he's banned now. Permanently. Marcus sat down. He felt tired suddenly. He mentioned a guest. Room 1247. Victor Molina. Janet's expression changed. Just slightly. A flicker of something Marcus couldn't quite read. What? He asked. Nothing, she said. Just... that room is flagged. Flagged how? VIP guest? Diplomatic immunity. We're supposed to provide extra privacy. No staff contact unless absolutely necessary. Marcus frowned. That's unusual. It's a $5,000 night suite. Unusual is what we do. But something in her tone bothered Marcus. Something wasn't right, and that feeling wouldn't go away. Marcus couldn't sleep. He tried. He went home at 6 a.m. when his shift ended. He showered, made breakfast, lay down in bed, but his mind kept circling back to Derek Palmer's words. What if I'm right? At 2 p.m., Marcus gave up. He got dressed and drove to the public library. He hadn't done research like this in years. Not since his days in the military police. But old habits never really died. He searched Derek Palmer's name. Articles appeared. Dozens of them. Awards, investigations. Then the scandal. The fabricated source. The lawsuits. The fall from grace. But Marcus kept digging. He found Derek's social media. Abandoned now, mostly. But there were posts from 6 months ago. Hints about a new investigation. References to weapons trafficking. Corporate corruption. And a name. Victor Molina. Marcus searched that name next. Victor Molina. Bulgarian-born businessman. Import-export company. Clean record. No criminal charges. But there were rumors. Allegations that never stuck. Associations with people in unstable regions. Nothing concrete. Nothing proven, but enough smoke to wonder about fire. Marcus closed the laptop. This wasn't his job. His job was to keep the hotel safe. To protect guests and staff. Not to investigate international businessmen. But something gnawed at him. That night, Marcus arrived at work early. He went straight to the security office. Janet wasn't there yet. Good. He pulled up the camera feeds for the 12th floor. Room 1247 was at the end of the hall. The cameras showed the corridor. The elevator. The emergency exit. Marcus scrolled back through the footage. 3 days of recordings. Victor Molina appeared several times. Tall man. Silver hair. Expensive suits. He moved with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no, but he had visitors. 3 different men over 3 days. They arrived separately. Always late at night. They carried briefcases. They never stayed long. Marcus zoomed in on one visitor's face. Ran it through the facial recognition software the hotel used for security. Threats no match. He tried another visitor. Still nothing. These men were ghosts. No digital footprint. No previous stays at the hotel. No names in any database. Marcus sat back. His heart beat faster. Maybe Derek wasn't crazy. Maybe he was desperate and broken. Yes. But maybe he'd stumbled onto something real. The door opened. Janet walked in with her coffee. She stopped when she saw Marcus at her computer. "You're here early," she said carefully. "Couldn't sleep." She set down her coffee. "What are you looking at?" Room 1247. Her expression hardened. "Marcus, don't what? Don't go looking for problems that aren't yours to solve." "Who is this guy, Janet?" She sighed. Rubbed her temples. "He's a VIP guest, paying premium rates for privacy. That's all you need to know. He's had 3 visitors in 3 days. Unknown men. No identification. That's a security concern. It's handled by who? by people above my pay grade. And yours. Janate's voice was firm now. Listen to me. The hotel management is aware of Mr. Molina. They've approved his stay. Whatever business he's conducting, it's not our concern.
What if it's illegal?
Then law enforcement will handle it. Not hotel security. Marcus stared at her. You know something? Jeanette looked away. I know that I like my job. I know that I have a mortgage and a daughter in college. I know that some battles aren't worth fighting. What did they tell you? She didn't answer. Janet, he told me he has diplomatic connections, she said quietly. That he's untouchable. That if I value my career, I'll make sure his stay is smooth and private. Who told you that? The general manager. Who got it from corporate? Who got it from somewhere else? She looked at Marcus. Really looked at him. Leave it alone, please. Marcus wanted to argue, wanted to push. But he saw the fear in Janet's eyes. Real fear. The kind that came from knowing you were powerless. He logged out of the computer. Okay, thank you. But it wasn't okay. And they both knew it. The rest of the shift dragged. Marcus made his rounds. Checked the cameras. Responded to a noise complaint on the 5th floor. Helped a guest who'd locked themselves out of their room. Normal work. Routine. But his mind was on the 12th floor at midnight. Marcus took his break. He walked to the service elevator. Pressed the button for 12. The elevator hummed. Rose. Stopped. The doors opened to a quiet corridor. Soft carpet. Expensive artwork on the walls. The kind of floor where rooms started at $800 a night. Room 1247 was at the end. Marcus walked slowly, casually. Just a security guard making rounds. He passed 1243, 1245 then. 1247. The door looked like every other door. Thick wood. Polished brass number. Nothing special, but Marcus stopped. He listened, voices inside. Muffled. At least 2 people. Maybe 3. He couldn't make out words. Just tones. One voice was calm, measured. That would be Molina. Another. Moise was agitated, arguing, then silence. Marcus's hand moved to his radio. But what would he say? He heard voices in a hotel room. That wasn't a crime. He was about to leave when the door opened. A man stepped out. Dark suit, dead eyes. He looked at Marcus without expression. Can I help you? The man asked. His accent was thick. Eastern European, maybe? It's just making rounds, Marcus said calmly. Everything okay? Fine. The man closed the door behind him. He stood there, waiting for Marcus to leave. Marcus nodded. Have a good night. He walked away. Felt the man's eyes on his back until he turned the corner. When Marcus reached the elevator, his hands were shaking. He'd seen men like that before. In Afghanistan? In Iraq? Men who'd done things that left marks on their souls? Soldiers, mercenaries, dangerous men? Marcus pulled out his phone. He stared at it for a long moment. Then he did something he knew shouldn't do. He searched for Derek Palmer's contact information. Derek Palmer almost didn't answer the unknown number. He'd gotten too many rejection calls lately. Too many voices telling him to stop calling, stop emailing, stop existing. But curiosity won. It always did. Hello? This is Marcus Chen from the Grand Meridian. Silence. Derek sat up in his cramped apartment. Newspapers covered his walls. Photos, maps. Red string connecting dots that maybe didn't connect at all. The security guard Derek said, Yes. You calling to threaten me again? No. Marcus's voice was quiet, careful. I'm calling because I think you might be right. Derek's heart hammered. About Molina? I need to know what you know. Everything, but not over the phone. They met at a diner 20 minutes away. The kind of place that served breakfast all day and never asked questions. Marcus arrived first, chose a corner booth with a view of the door. Derek walked in, looking worse than before. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes. Eyes that hadn't seen real sleep in days. He slid into the booth. You changed your mind? I did some digging, Marcus said. The visitors. The secrecy. Something's wrong. I've been saying that for weeks. I'm sorry I didn't listen. Derek almost smiled. Almost. So what made you believe me? Marcus described the man he'd seen. The dead eyes. The way he'd stood. The feeling of danger that clung to him like cologne. Derek nodded slowly. That's one of them. The enforcers. Molina doesn't do his own dirty work. What exactly is he doing? Derek pulled out a battered notebook, flipped through pages of scrawled notes. Victor Molina runs a legitimate import-export business, on paper. But my sources say he's been brokering weapons sales to groups in Eastern Europe and North Africa. Small arms, mostly. Sometimes heavier equipment, sources Marcus repeated. The same sources that got you blacklisted? Derek's jaw tightened. That was different. I was desperate. I pushed too hard on a story that wasn't ready. But this is real. I've been tracking Molina for 8 months. Then why haven't you gone to the police? I did. They said they need evidence. Hard evidence. Documents. Photos. Recordings. Hearsay from anonymous sources isn't enough. So you tried to bribe a kitchen worker for information. I tried to pay someone for help. Derek corrected. There's a difference. Not legally. Derek closed the notebook. Look, I know what I did was wrong. I know I'm desperate. But Molina is meeting with buyers this week. Right now. In your hotel. If we don't act, people will die. Weapons will move. And he'll disappear again. Marcus wanted to walk away. Every instinct told him this was above his pay grade. That he should report it to management and let someone else handle it. But he thought about the man with dead eyes. The fear in Janet's voice. The way powerful people seemed to be protecting Molina. Marcus asked. I need to get into his room. Or at least close enough to plant a listening device. That's illegal. So is arms trafficking. Marcus shook his head. I'm not risking my career to break into a guest's room. Then help me another way. Derek leaned forward. The CCTV footage. You have recordings of everyone who's visited him. Get me those files. Let me identify the buyers. That's evidence. I can't just hand over security footage. Copy it. Anonymously. Send it to the FBI. Marcus considered it. That was safer. No breaking and entering. Just sharing footage that showed suspicious activity. The people visiting him, Derek continued, they're not tourists. They're arms dealers, mercenaries, war criminals. If I can identify them, if I can connect them to Molina, the FBI will have to act. And if you're wrong, if this is just another fabricated conspiracy, Derek's expression hardened. Then I'll accept that. I'll walk away from journalism forever. But I'm not wrong. I know I'm not. Marcus wanted to believe him. Wanted to think that this broken man still had enough integrity left to tell the truth. I need time, Marcus said finally. I need to verify some things first. We don't have time. Molina checks out in 3 days. Then I'll work fast. Derek grabbed Marcus's wrist. Please, I know I have no credibility. I know you have every reason not to trust me. But if we don't do something, blood will be on our hands. Marcus pulled his hand back gently. I said I'll look into it. That's all I can promise. He left money on the table for coffee neither of them had touched. Walked out into the cold night. His car was parked under a streetlight. He sat inside for a long time. Then he drove back to the hotel. His shift didn't start for another hour. But Marcus went straight to the security office. Janet's shift had ended. The night supervisor, Tommy, barely looked up from his phone. You're early, Tommy said. Couldn't sleep. Tommy shrugged and went back to scrolling. Marcus sat at his station. Pulled up the CCTV files for the 12th floor. Copied 3 days of footage onto a USB drive hidden in his pocket. His hands shook the whole time. When the files finished copying, Marcus logged out. Ejected the drive. Slipped it into his jacket. I'm going to do a patrol, he told Tommy. Sure, man. Whatever. Marcus walked through the hotel. His hotel? The place he'd worked for 11 years. Where he'd built a reputation for honesty and reliability. And now he was stealing footage to help a disgraced journalist investigate a guest. He should stop. Turn around. Delete the files. Forget Derek Palmer existed. But he didn't. He walked to his car. Sat inside. Pulled out his phone. A message to Derek. I have the footage. Meet me tomorrow. Same place. Response came instantly. Thank you. You're doing the right thing. Marcus stared at the message. The right thing. He wasn't sure anymore what that meant. He drove home. Went inside. Lay in bed without sleeping and wondered what he'd just set in motion. Derek spent 12 hours reviewing the footage. Marcus sat beside him in Derek's apartment, watching faces flicker across the laptop screen.
That one?
Derek said suddenly. He paused the video. Pointed to a man entering room 1247, Alexei Volkov. Former Russian military. Now he brokers deals for private militias. Marcus wrote down the name. You're sure? I've been tracking him for months. He was in Libya last year. Syria, before that. Derek's fingers flew across the keyboard. He pulled up a photo from a news article. Same face, same cold expression, and him. Marcus pointed to another visitor. Derek zoomed in. Studied the face. Shook his head. Don't know him. But I can find out. They went through each visitor. 3, they identified. 2 remained unknown. But it was enough. Enough to establish a pattern. Enough to prove these weren't random business meetings. We need to send this to the FBI, Marcus said. Derek nodded, but his hand hesitated over the keyboard. They might not act fast enough. Melina leaves in 2 days? That's not our problem. Should be. Derek turned to face Marcus. We have evidence now. Real evidence. But what if it gets buried? What if someone with connections makes it disappear? You don't know that will happen. I've seen it happen before. Derek's voice was bitter. Powerful people protect each other. Unless we force their hand? How? We publish. Make it public. Once it's out there, they can't hide it. Marcus stood up. No, that's not what we agreed. We gather evidence and hand it to authorities. That's it. And if the authorities do nothing, then we tried. But I'm not risking everything to be part of your redemption story. Derek flinched. Is that what you think this is? Me trying to rebuild my career? Isn't it? Silence filled the small apartment. The laptop screen glowed between them. Maybe it started that way, Derek admitted quietly. Maybe I thought one big story would fix everything. But now I've seen the faces of the men visiting that room. I've read about the conflicts they fuel, the lives destroyed by weapons they sell. He looked up at Marcus. This is bigger than me, Marcus wanted to argue. But he couldn't, because Derek was right. We send it to the FBI, Marcus said firmly. Anonymously. If they don't act, then we consider going public. But we do this right. Derek nodded slowly. Okay, you're right. They spent the next hour compiling everything. The footage, the identified visitors, dates and times. A clean, professional package. Derek uploaded it to a secure server. Sent the link to 3 different FBI field offices. Names. No return address. Done, he said. Marcus felt the weight lift slightly from his shoulders. Now we wait. But they didn't have to wait long. The next morning, Marcus arrived at work to find the hotel in chaos. Police cars in the parking lot. Unmarked vehicles. Men in dark suits showing badges. Janet met him at the entrance. Her face was pale. FBI? They're arresting Victor Melina. Marcus's heart raced. When, 20 minutes ago, they raided his room. Found documents. Computer files. They're taking everything. Did they say why? International arms trafficking. Money laundering. Connections to terrorist organizations. Anne's hand shook. Marcus, they asked about our security footage. Someone sent them our CCTV files. Marcus kept his expression neutral. Maybe corporate cooperated? Maybe. But she looked at him carefully. Did you have anything to do with this? Why would I? That journalist? Derek Palmer. The one you threw out. He's been writing about Melina for months. And now, the day after you escort him off property, the FBI shows up? Marcus met her eyes. I did my job. I protected our staff and removed a trespasser. What the FBI does is their business. Janet studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, just be careful. Questions are going to be asked. She was right. Over the next week, investigators interviewed everyone. Marcus told them the truth. Mostly he'd observed suspicious activity. He'd reported concerns through proper channels. He'd made copies of relevant footage. He left out Derek Palmer. The investigation expanded. 3 of Melina's visitors were arrested. Weapons shipments were intercepted at ports in 3 countries. Bank accounts were frozen. It made national news. International news, and Derek Palmer got his byline back. A major outlet published his investigative piece. Comprehensive, detailed, everything he'd been working on for 8 months. The editor's note explained his past mistakes, but also acknowledged his thorough work on this case. It wasn't redemption. Not complete. But it was a start. Marcus read the article on his phone during a break. Derek had kept his promise. No mention of Marcus. No mention of the hotel security guard who'd helped. Just the facts. The evidence. The truth. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Thank you. You saved lives. You gave me a second chance. I won't waste it. Marcus deleted the message. Then he went back to work. Sophia brought him coffee one day. Smiled shyly. I saw the news. About the man who tried to bribe me. He helped catch a criminal. He did. Do you think he was really a bad person? Or just someone who made mistakes? Marcus thought about that. About Derek's desperation. His broken career. His willingness to cross lines. But also his persistence. His belief that some stories mattered more than personal safety. I think people are complicated, Marcus said finally. We all make choices. Some good, some bad. What matters is what we do after. Sophia nodded. My mother used to say something like that. She said everyone deserves a chance to be better than their worst moment. Your mother sounds wise. She was. Sophia's smile was sad. I try to remember that. She left with the empty coffee cup. Marcus watched her go. Thought about second chances. About the fine line between right and wrong, his radio crackled. Marcus, we need you on the 3rd floor. Guests locked out of their room. On my way. He stood up. Straightened his uniform. Went back to his rounds. Just a security guard. Doing his job. Keeping people safe. But sometimes, he thought, keeping people safe meant more than just following orders. Sometimes it meant looking at the evidence. Trusting your instincts. Taking risks for the right reasons. That night, Marcus went home to his small apartment. He ate dinner. Watched the news. Saw footage of Victor Melina being led into a courthouse in handcuffs. His phone buzzed one more time. Another unknown number. This is Derek. I just wanted you to know. They're estimating the weapons we stopped would have armed 3 different militant groups. Conservative estimates suggest we prevented hundreds of deaths. Marcus stared at the message. Hundreds of lives because a disgraced journalist refused to give up, and because a security guard chose to listen instead of just following protocol. He typed back, "Don't contact me again. And stay out of trouble." The response was immediate. "I will. Promise." Marcus doubted that. People like Derek Palmer didn't stay out of trouble. They chased it, found it. Sometimes for the wrong reasons. Sometimes for the right ones. He deleted both messages. Deleted the number. Then he sat in the quiet of his apartment and let himself feel something he hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. Not the loud, boastful kind. The quiet kind. The kind that came from knowing you'd made a difference. The kind that didn't need recognition or reward. Just the knowledge that when faced with a choice between easy and right, he'd chosen right, and that was enough. Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside, Marcus Chen closed his eyes and finally slept without questions keeping him awake. The security camera in the hotel's east. The corridor still recorded everything. Still captured every face. Every moment. But some moments mattered more than others. Some moments changed everything.